You've got questions about fitness, nutrition, mindset, health as a whole, and I'm here to help answer them. From fat loss and strength training to post rehab and building a truly sustainable approach to wellness, my goal is to help you build a strong, healthy body and mind that actually lasts. I'm Ray Cook, and if you're ready for practical, no fluff guidance that you can use right away, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. I digress. I need to get out of this question because I'm going to keep tangenting for the next bit. Question for today, unless you guys have others for me or on top of. What should I eat to support workouts and recovery? It goes on to say people want simple meals, affordable options, less supplements, more food-based guidance, also tied to gut health, energy, jeez Louise, and soreness. I don't know why I keep getting hiccups. Maybe it's all the coffee I drink. I don't know. There's no correlation there. I have no idea. Okay, so this is a big lofty question that I may not have the perfect answer to. I have many answers. I don't know if any of them are what anyone's going for. So we're going to find out. What should I eat to support workouts? Let's start there rather than recovery. They will kind of tie in together anyhow because they still kind of transpire into the same realm. But timings are going to be a little bit different. And not always do we talk about meal timings or nutrition timing, but sometimes it can be very important. And I will just say this, I don't know all there is to know about nutrition timing. I just don't. So there's that. And that is, enter. Does coffee and tea and other beverages count towards your fluid intake? The question I understand, when you put the that is and then a bunch of spaces in there, was that on purpose or was that an accident? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking. So I'm going to first go with the what should I eat to support workouts and recovery. Then I'll go into yours too, Ann. To support workouts, obviously we talk about this a lot. Carbs, fats, and proteins. You know that we all need that. That's not a big question mark. We should all be on the same page with that piece. Micro or macronutrients are highly important, as are micronutrients. We just don't put the same emphasis on them when it comes to workouts and recovery, even though that they can have a massive impact. In that same breath, the context of this said like people are trying to avoid supplements, which I'm all for. But at the same token, some supplements can be helpful depending on either where you're at or what kind of food or the amount of food that you're consistently getting in. Meaning, let's start with that piece first so we can just get it out of the way. Mainstay supplements that most people are probably going to be perfectly fine with taking. I have to say, just to get the general statement out there, always consult your doctor, your physician, talk to a registered dietitian. Evie is one if you want to talk about these in more depth. But mainstay ones that I generally talk about with most of you guys, vitamin D, pretty damn helpful for all of us to live up here in the Northwest with zero sun, mostly. So vitamin D is a pretty big one. Fish oil, some kind of omega-3. It does not have to be fish oil specifically. It can be, I've seen krill oil, which I don't know anybody that's a whale, but I'm mostly joking on that. You can get that. There are a couple different ways to get your omega-3s in. Supplementing those is probably going to be most helpful for most of us because fish is damn expensive. So when it comes to that world, that's why so many of us recommend getting omega-3s in that capacity through like a supplement. It's because it's expensive. If you can sustain your budget and your nutrition needs by getting the amount of omega-3s through fish, through chia seeds, like there's plenty of options for getting omega-3s, but most prominent is fish. There you go. Probably need the supplement. The one-a-day supplements are usually fine. That is just up to you. After that, I mean, it's a big question mark. Everything else is just like expensive piss. So do with that what you will. Those are the mainstay supplements that I would generally recommend people. But then as it like kind of ties into the broader picture, and by the way, I'm zooming out of the chat real quick just so I can focus on my thoughts and then I'll come back to the chat. Another piece that kind of gets muddied is when people start tying in like the protein powders or things like that. I'm like, well, this is a supplement. 100%. If you want to view your protein powders, if you take creatine, your creatine as a supplement, 100%. That is a supplement. It's supplementing your nutrition needs, your nutrition intake. So looking at it in that perspective, yeah, they probably all are supplements in that way because it's not just whole food options. They're supplementing a normally good, healthful diet or healthful way of eating. So throw that piece in there too. Obviously, I talk about those ones more than anything with you guys when it comes to protein, but do with that what you will. Now, in terms of getting ideal nutrition in, we still need, I don't want to say this, we still need the timing to be kind of involved, but we don't need to overcomplicate it either. A long time ago, probably actually not that long ago, like less than 10 years ago, let's say that, it's really not that long ago, there was this big thing precluding that time frame, which was known as the anabolic window, where ideally you're getting like your protein needs post workout within the first, I think it was 2 hours. I could be wrong on that. It could be 4, but I think it was 2 hours. Essentially, it was get your protein in after your workout as fast as humanly possible. And people were saying, and there was nothing to support this yet, but people were saying, oh my gosh, you got to get it in because that's when you're going to take the most advantage of protein being upregulated in your body to be utilized for muscle building. That has very much since been disproven in that time window. It's still true that post-workout, your body's going to utilize protein and carbohydrate more for muscle building, muscle sustaining, than just storage for the carbohydrate and more than just picking out for the protein. So in that way of thinking, keep that in mind. Okay, the window is not 2 hours. It's like, it's big. It's a big window. Still aim to get it in, but don't be like 3 days later, like, I got my protein in. Get it in the day, but don't sprint home. Don't sprint to your car. Don't sprint somewhere to get your protein in because it's not necessary, period. But it is important to get in because at that point, post-workout, you will need it. Now, on the opposite side of this, what do you do like pre-workout? Don't get a lot of protein in there. Don't get a whole lot of fiber in there pre-workout. And that's going to be one of the few times you're going to hear me say don't get a lot of fiber in at that point, because fiber and protein are going to slow everything down in your digestive system to the point that it's going to feel really uncomfortable when it comes to working out. Meaning you might feel heavy, you might feel sloshy, you might feel both, you might just feel not you, which is normal, but sucks at the same time. So do your best not to get the protein, the fiber stuff leading into your workout. More like, you still want carbohydrate, just not a lot of fiber. So in that capacity, you can still do some fruit. It's not a substantial amount of fiber. And I just throw in the fiber to really like cover the bases on that. You can still get some fiber. I'm not saying don't go get an apple because it has fiber in it, but don't take like a bar that's like 6 to 9 grams of fiber and then have some protein with it too going into your workout, because that's going to suck. Save that for afterwards. Going into your workout, something to give you a little bit of extra energy. So definitely a carbohydrate source. You might even, if you end up going with like some level of pre-workout, the main focus there is caffeine and sometimes nitric oxide, but mostly the caffeine focus. So if you're going to go with something leading into your workouts, making sure you get that in would be helpful. Yeah. Good morning, Em. I saw Dave was in here too. Good morning, Dave. I'm sure you're sitting right next to each other because you're on a boat, you're on a cruise, and you can revel in this. You love cruises. They're on a cruise right now. Silly geese. They're enjoying themselves. So I'm sure you guys are next to each other. So if you're not on anymore, Dave, because I see you left, hello from Emma's phone. Yeah, they're having fun. I know it. They sent me some pictures making me jealous. It's amazing. But yeah, that's kind of the nutshell response to the question that was posed, was the what should I eat to support workouts? The piece to support recovery, this is more like a post-workout, but like long-term view or long-term lens of these things that you want to look at from. You're going back to the supplement piece, even though it says less supplementing, you're at that point, you're still going to want to get some level of omega-3. So it ties into that supplement from earlier that I was talking about. That's at least had a moderate showing of being able to reduce muscle soreness. So if you find yourself really, 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 really sore a lot of the time, probably not a bad idea to throw in some omega-3s, but don't like double, quadruple, none of that. Just take the recommended amount on the supplement and call it good. Okay. If you're taking, like, if you're eating fish, you're doing all the stuff, you may not need to supplement with it. But if you're not eating that much fish, or you eat it sometimes, not that consistently, it might still be a good idea to supplement with that. Just throwing that out there. Again, chia seeds can be helpful with the omega-3s as well. A couple other things like different types of nuts and seeds can be helpful with that, but the amount that you're going to be getting from those things is not as extensive as we would like it to be, especially with the ratio of like omega-3s to omega-6s. Omega-6s are more on the side of pro-inflammatory. Omega-3s are more on the side of anti-inflammatory. So you want to have like some kind of a positive ratio with those things. You do not need to track those things though to get a good balance. You just need to figure out what you're eating, how consistently you're eating it, and what kind of variety you have. That was a spiel. When it comes to recovery though, on top of that stuff, making sure you're getting your protein, your carbohydrates, especially that post-workout anabolic window thing. Don't worry so much about the short window, but do make sure that you're getting your protein and your carbohydrate just to utilize that energy to go towards something conducive, especially if your goal is to get stronger and put on some muscle while also losing some fat, especially because you're utilizing that energy, those macronutrients to support building. That's something very, very important. On top of that, what was the other part of the question? Eat to support recovery. If we're looking at like sleep support, that's a big old question mark. I don't even want to pretend that I know everything that there is about sleep. There's so many nuances to sleep when it comes to especially like food. So I'm not even going to try to crap out information on that one. So there's that. But when it comes to like stress relief stuff, maybe you get some warm beverage at night. If that calms you down, dope. If you have a routine that involves warm beverages somewhere else, dope. Like find ways to make it work for you. But the end all be all is if it makes you comfortable, it gives you a positive feel throughout the day or at the end of the day, not a bad idea. Chuck it in as you see fit. Chuck it in as it feels good. So that's kind of that piece. And you also asked a question. Does coffee and tea and other beverages count towards your fluid intake? Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. Not alcohol. I'm glad you added that piece. Yes. So yes, as a blanket statement, those things do count towards your fluid intake. If they did not, that would suck. Big, big stuff. So coffee and tea. Let's start there. What do they mostly comprise? If your answer was water, you've done an amazing job. So even though, yes, these things are diluted, even though, yes, some coffee, mostly the coffees, are like the diuretic and you poop, some teas are like that. If you get smooth move tea, I can tell you with confidence, post-surgery, that shit helps. Gets it right out. But there are some teas that are the same way. I don't know if all teas are the same way, but coffee's pretty well seen as being that way. But they're both primarily water. So yes, they will count as water. Does it mean that you should only, and this goes for other beverages too, a lot of those are also just water with stuff in them. In the same breath, does that mean that we should only get this? And I'm using this because this is my coffee. Should we only get this to suffice our fluid intake, our water intake, more or less? You could? Should you? Probably not. Just because of the sheer fact of like there's more than just the water in this. I would love for you to try to just get some water in, whether or not that's plain water, or if you can't stand plain water or something else happens with plain water, if you have to add a little bit of like a meal liquid, like one of those things, with the squeezes and whatnot to make it flavorful, if you need to add some of that, fine. At the same token, I think that it's important that we try to get just some type of water in. And I'm not saying that you guys don't by any means. And I'm not saying that most people don't, but I have heard of some people that literally don't, where they are like, I survive off of coffee, sometimes energy drinks, and that's it. At that point, now we got a little bit of a flag because and this is where it kind of gets more nuanced and tricky, which is good. Like you want some nuance and trickiness to this stuff. I don't know. This is probably just a very biased piece on this one. I would ideally have at least most of us be getting in 40 ounces of just straight up water. If 40 is too much to start with 10, start with 20, start with what you can. But getting in just some straight up water at the very least to just go through your system and help clean you out a little bit, as opposed to just getting in all this extra stuff and forcing your body to work just all the time to do its job, but to have to go through a lot of extra roundabout pieces. I don't know. I don't think that that's all the most helpful thing. So in that way of thinking, I still stay. Get your coffee, get your tea, get your other beverages, especially if they're like 0-calorie options. because they'll still allow you to enjoy the stuff you want to enjoy without having this huge extra cost of just purely caloric density with no nutrient density whatsoever. I still think it's important to get those things and your water. Does it have a perfect 1-to-1 ratio? Who the hell knows? You could go to a lab and take a good test on it, and then you'll actually know. I still don't think that it's the perfect 1-to-1 ratio because there's more stuff in this than just water. But at the same time, it 100% does count towards your fluid intake. So if you're going off of, let's hypothetically say, a 90-ounce goal of water intake, your coffee still counts. But if you're having like 2 12-ounce things of coffee, I'm not going to say that's 24 ounces of water. I'm going to say you probably should still aim to go get some water today. So in that way of thinking, yes, they count. At the end of the day, we all still do need water. Aim to get some water. The end of that piece. Yeah, and I see you said you do drink water as well. Most people do. Some people don't. I have like one person that has a really, really tough time with getting in water. And it just goes back to the earlier statement. If you can't get in 40 ounces, fine, get 10. Like, I don't care how much you get, especially if it just makes you feel weird. It's really hard. It's overwhelming for some reason. Fine, just do what you can on it. Like, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. There's only so much you can do. I can't bring you to water and force you to drink it. Do what you can. But there might be more of a benefit by just getting some water on top of some of your other drink too. So that's my spiel on that one. I hope that answered your question. That one, I feel like I could probably go down different rabbit holes with it, but I don't know off the top of my head, being such like that's a fast question. I don't know if I covered it all. So if you guys have further questions on it, that might spark more thoughts around it for me, but I don't know at this moment in time. So we'll go from there. But fill me in. Last moments. What is a win from your past week? What are you looking forward to over this next upcoming week? Fill me in. And then if anything comes up, I'll be sure to share it with you guys. But go enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. If you're doing anything for Valentine's Day, more than just slapping your person on the butt and saying, hey, happy Valentine's Day, you're looking sexy. Cool. Let me know. Don't share any other details, but let me know what you're going to go do. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. You guys are amazing. Let's get after it. Talk to you guys later. You got a question for the next Q&A? Drop it in the comments. If you want deeper support, consider subscribing or joining our coaching community where we host multiple live calls every week. The link's in the description. And if this helped you in any way, please share it with someone who's also working on their health too. And remember to stay active, eat mindfully, think positive thoughts, and let's get after it.